The last one was yellow, this one is white. It has a different shape, but it's still just a board. It's nothing. And then you use it to do nothing. And these so-called companies behind it see it as a great business, obviously. Some people behind all of these sports, these ideas, know exactly what humans naturally want to do. And that's why they know that they will always attach themselves to these ideas. What is he doing right here? He is trying to master the wave. Humans have this desire to prove their ability to master forces which are larger than themselves. An example of that would be 20 people trying to hunt down an elephant. Usually you would do that in a group, obviously. Humans hunting groups, other animals also do, but he is trying to do it on his own. Not that you can actually do that, just to be clear. It's obviously all imaginary. He's not doing anything. There's always this guy behind the camera. I don't know who that is. Maybe his father. Is he pushing him to do it? Who knows? He is most definitely encouraging him. That's obvious. He said that we have a lot of fun doing this, but as we can see, nobody enjoys surfing. I've never seen anybody enjoy it, obviously, because it's simply not a joyful activity. It's a stressful activity, the opposite of a joyful activity. But people who do sports very often go into denial, very deep denial usually, because it's hard for them to admit that they hate doing what they are doing, seeing as we have this natural desire to compete and also to explore. That's the simplest way of putting it. I will make another video about sports where I will explain it all in detail. The tools that he uses to compete, to try to dominate in a very domesticated way. And all humans want to do that. It's just that you want to do it in a completely different way. And that's why a lot of people go into denial when you talk about these sports, these ideas. You never actually achieve anything because it's all based on ideas, meaning that the outcome is also an idea, the result. You master the wave, it's all imaginary. You get a trophy, it's meaningless, it has no worth. Again, it's imaginary. It's always all imaginary. The trophy, the medal as such is real, but it's not a trophy. You imagine that it's a trophy, just to be clear. The result, the outcome, the achievement will always be imaginary because you're doing an imaginary sport. You should never expect anything else. You should never expect to feel fulfilled when you do a so-called sport because it doesn't exist. You can only actually achieve something when you do the real thing, and then you will have a real reward and achievement in front of you, and it will make you happy, and you will actually feel joy. You will never feel joy when it comes to any sports. And they obsess over all of these tools, the gear. It's all bullshit. It means nothing. The contest doesn't exist. It's all imaginary tricks. Those also don't exist. You do something on a board and then you give it a name. That's it. They simply live in their own imagination. They believe that they are doing something when they are doing nothing. That's how slaves live nowadays. For example, you give it a name and then you imagine that you did this specific trick, and then you can show the footage to other people, you can post it on Instagram, and that's how you expect to get some kind of attention and validation, or you try to compete against people who are there in real life. It's all nonsense. And no matter how good you become at doing that, you will still always be doing nothing. It's such a joke because you cannot achieve anything. No matter what you do, it never ends. Like a video game. Video games are also all about imitating what you naturally want to do, except that you never achieve anything. So you can play them forever until you die. It's exactly the same thing. It's also a slave activity. It's all about using your imagination instead of physically in this reality doing what you really want to do. Using those desires and instincts for what they were made for. And he will never have fun doing it, as we can see. There's people around him cheering for him. The reason I mentioned that is because that can also push you to do something that you don't want to do. Thrill of victory. If we don't use our imagination at all, and if we simply look at what actually happened there, then we can see that nothing happened. It was a human being on a board in water who jumped for a second. Literally nothing in this reality changed. He didn't achieve anything, but that's not how people live nowadays, seeing as they don't really live at all. They live in their imagination. And in his imagination, this was an achievement, a victory. But what would a real victory look like in this reality? He is rushing at his opponent with his weapon. As I said, it's a diluted and domesticated version of what he really wants to do. But once you understand human nature, then you will understand what everybody is doing when they follow these ideas, which they call sport. And you can do this as many times as you want to. You can master the wave, you can defeat it, you can be better than everybody else, and it will never fulfill you anyway. You will always feel empty. You will never feel like a winner because in this reality, you're not winning. You're always losing because only losers do sports. And it's oftentimes also pretty dangerous to do this. Obviously, right now, he's not deep in the ocean, but people die doing this. For what? For nothing. That's the joke. Let's look at the world record. This is very dangerous. And why are you doing this? To get a world record. The reason I put that in quotes is because it doesn't exist, obviously. Everything that is part of the world is imaginary. In this reality, nothing will change. You will not achieve anything. It's completely meaningless. And the idiot slaves are cheering him on. Obviously, he cannot hear it, but still. Let's look at snowboarding quickly. Again, it's the same thing. You touch the snow with your hand while you're upside down. You give this trick some kind of a name, and then you imagine that you did a trick. Other people also imagine that, and then you believe that you achieved something. It's again completely imaginary because in this reality, if you don't use your imagination, then you achieved nothing, zero. I never even liked watching any of this as a child, and that's because we all know that they are doing nothing. But people start using their imagination more and more when they get older, and that's why they get pulled into all of these meaningless activities.
And very similar to Jake Cantor's.
Look at all of them. They smile and laugh when a slave does nothing, but when people actually achieve something, then they will call them bad humans. It's really funny. I love these slaves, man. Again, he jumps. the board moves in a specific way, and then he imagines that he did a kickflip, for example. In reality, he did nothing, but all of the people around him will also use their imagination. And that's why they will call him skillful, and they will say that he beat the others. The big problem is that the schools and the media teach children nowadays that they achieve something when they use their imagination. That's why so many people fall for all of this. An exam, for example, is purely imaginary, but people believe that it's real. They will constantly try to drill that into your head. There's also a rebellious side to all of it. People are working there, going to stores. Some people who don't like this system try to rebel in such a way. In reality, you are actually absolutely showing that you are part of the system, but people are gullible. They do not understand what's actually going on. That's why they fall for all of this. Just to be clear, what I'm saying is that all of this is still part of the system, obviously, because you're constantly imitating what you really want to do. By the way, this also actually originated from surfing. Skateboarding used to be called sidewalk surfing. The surfers did that when there were no waves. As you can see, people are living their slave lives, and then there are some people who dress differently. They do different stuff, such as skateboarding, but you're just rolling around on a board. You're not affecting the system in any way at all. Sometimes the police may come and tell you not to skate here or there, but nothing more will happen. Overall, you're absolutely still part of the system, no matter how you dress or where you skate, because you're not affecting any of it. And when it comes to the development of humans, everything that's going on with the fake food, then you will never hear about any of that from these people because they don't even realize it themselves. People are just very lost. Very. The way you need to look at these free sports is that they are simply ideas. You imagine that you achieved something when you ride a wave, jump on a board, or touch the snow while being upside down. You simply imagine that those actions have some kind of a meaning. And then you look at the people around you who are also in the matrix. You see them applauding you, and then you believe that you are a winner. Thanks for watching.